Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. Hey, good morning. Lots to talk about on Missoula Real Estate Today. Today, we're going to talk about real estate, of course. We're going to talk about the SUP Cup. We're going to talk about Missoula Food Bank. We got a lot going on. And our special guest from Windermere Real Estate is Andie Zielinski, now a real estate agent with Windermere. Welcome to the show. Your first time, huh?
No, I've a few times, but first time with you.
First time with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you are rather new to being a realtor, but not new to Windermere. Your background, how you got started, and how your career has evolved.
Yes, it's been exciting with Windermere. I'm very grateful for everybody there. Started out answering phones, moved up to office manager, and then decided to step into the realtor position and get licensed as my little girl was growing up and getting older, and found out that I wanted to hang out with my mom and everybody else a little bit more, to have a more flexible schedule, and it's been great, a fabulous transition.
Did you kind of learn as you go? Were you real
I
estate
did.
your office manager / trainee or learning the process?
I learned a lot in the process, especially from people like Diane Beck. Just sitting back and watching her and the other successful agents in the office taught me a lot before I stepped in to the role, and so it's been great, and I'm very thankful to everybody there that has been supportive in my transition.
I'm going to scare you a little bit. Are you ready for this?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Okay.
I remember you at a jewelry store in Southgate Mall.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far back I'm going, and I couldn't tell you which jewelry store.
A long time going back.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 years.
But,
yeah.
And I think that I remember that because I was making a purchase, and I just remember that you were one of those customer service reps. You were just so polite and so helpful, and it was like I was the only customer that mattered at the time. Do you find you're very good at it? Do you find those customer service skills you developed then still help you today?
Absolutely, because some people are customer driven, and I want people around me to be happy, and so I do feel like that has helped my background quite a bit. So,
this is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Andie Zielinski, a realtor with Windermere, and we're going to talk to Amanda Caesar from Missoula Food Bank here shortly. Andie, I wanted to congratulate you too on being named 2019 Newcomer of the Year by the Missoula Organization of Realtors. How did that make you feel?
Thank you. Actually, really, really amazing. Super supportive realtor organization. They are an amazing community that gives back to Missoula, what we live in. And I had some fabulous mentors like Melissa Mooney had taken me on. She had taken me under her wing, and at that time she was the president of the Missoula Organization of Realtors and had encouraged me to get involved. And I think her encouragement really helped bring that award to the table, and I'm very blessed to have her. So
now, I acknowledge you did have 7 or 8 years in the office before you made that move, but when you went from office manager to real estate agent, was there anything about the new job that took you by surprise, something you really weren't expecting, or had you been around real estate agents long enough to kind of anticipate the hills and the valleys?
I did know a chunk of what to expect, and so I was very lucky as far as that is concerned. It does take a lot longer to get your momentum than you anticipate in this industry because you are trying to keep up with big dogs like Diane Beck all the time. So
there you go, Diane. You're a big dog. I hope you feel good about that.
One of the top. So it definitely took a lot longer to get my momentum than I anticipated, but very grateful for where these last few years have taken me.
I guess it's kind of boomerangs back to customer service. What are you finding to be buyers' biggest needs during a transaction? Are there stressful moments where you really have to put those customer service skills to work?
Definitely. I think every transaction you can expect that. I feel like the inspection part of the transaction is a little scary because it's unknown to some people. But I think if you're just open and you communicate well and what certain expectations could happen, definitely helps the transition through the process of the transaction. So definitely being open and knowing what things could possibly come up help the situation.
And through it all, a busy career, busy raising a family, talking to guys that remember you from a jewelry store, all of that, you still find time. You're quite community involved. Some of your favorite activities that you're involved in.
Well, SUP Cup for
the one we're going to talk about today.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure, yeah.
SUP Cup is huge. A huge event that has taken part for the last 8 years with me. A few other things is I'm chair of the communications committee with the Missoula Organization of Realtors this year. Also on professional development and YPN, the Young Professional Network there as well. I love being a part of the Redcoats with the Chamber of Commerce. So I do a lot of like the business after hours.
Sure.
Sometimes you'll find the Redcoats on the streets during the parade trying to get everybody organized there. They do a lot of little events like that throughout the course of the year that help the community progress. So.
And I'll let her do the talking in a second, but how did you get to know Amanda here from the Missoula Food Bank?
Through SUP Cup.
Wow,
She has
great.
been fantastic, a great supporter. They've been racing, having some amazing costumes on the river. They're adding a lot of fun to our event, and we appreciate their support.
All right. Well, we don't do costume changes here, but we do microphone changes. So while you're doing that, I'll remind everybody it's Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Andie Zielinski with Windermere Real Estate. And right now, Amanda Caesar with the Missoula Food Bank, who I got to know a little bit during the Can the Cats food drive. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Denny, how are you?
Oh, just fine. Welcome to our program here. What all do you do at the Missoula Food Bank?
Yeah, so I'm the events and marketing coordinator. I plan all of our big events, and I get to tell everyone about them.
And we will get to the fundraiser that we're here specifically talking about, the SUP Cup, the stand-up paddleboard race that you do. But what is what is the vibe with the Missoula Food Bank? I mean, you've got I still call it a brand new facility. I know it's not brand new now, but it sure looks brand new. It's a beautiful facility. And just overall, how are things at the food bank?
Yeah, they're going really well. It's this interesting industry, the food bank, where we want to be serving more people, just so that we have, so that we know that people are having access to food and being nourished over the weeks and the weekends and all the days. But we have seen growth in our store with that new building. We've been able to serve more people. More people have access to the bus routes, the parking lots, the community center aspect of the food bank. So I think it's about a year or two now that we're going on our new name. So we're Missoula Food Bank and Community Center now. Mm-hmm. And we're in our new space. We're really trying to incorporate that community center aspect of the whole thing. To shop in the store, in the food bank store, it's set up just like a free food pantry, and we don't have any qualifications. Yeah. Emergency strikes, and you can come right through the doors. We don't ask for ID. We don't ask for income levels or anything like that. When you walk through the door, you're greeted with many friendly faces from our volunteer team. We've got hundreds of volunteers that really run that store each and every week. Could not do it without them. We're actually celebrating them this week, too. It's Volunteer Appreciation Week. But you walk through the door and you come up to the front and fill out a brief intake form. It's got some demographic information on there. Helps us get grants for more food. Each and every customer sits down with a volunteer interviewer, and they just share how the store works, how the signs work in the store, what kind of produce we have in there this week, and what to do next.
Does that surprise a lot of your first-time guests, do you think, that it's that open-armed and accommodating? Because they're probably, unless they've had previous experience, they might not be expecting exactly that kind of a reception.
Yeah, it's such a welcoming environment. And I'm more on the phones in my line of work at the food bank, and I get a lot of the calls that are like, what do I need to do to come into the food bank? Like, how does it work? And it's like, no, you just walk in. You just walk in, and if you need food, we get you food, and you head on your way. Everything is completely confidential and super simple. People feel so relieved when they come in the doors. I think that's one of the words that we hear the most. Relieved and just like welcome, dignified. And we're really proud of that. We're really, really proud of that. And that building, that new building that we've been able to build with our community has been such an impactful part of that whole process.
What is merchandising like? I mean, is there somebody at the Missoula Food Bank who kind of keeps a watchful eye on, okay, we've got so much of this product, so we're pretty full there for now.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you know, it turns over a lot, obviously, especially with produce and meat, I'm sure. But is there's some sort of quality control system where not necessarily a dietitian, but just somebody says, okay, we know we're going to move a lot of this product, so we're going to stock more of it, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our volunteers help us keep an eye on that, but we also have warehouse managers. Greg, he's out driving one of our big trucks all the time, picking up food from local grocery stores and restaurants. And so we use that inventory to figure out, like, how much tuna do we need this week based on the numbers that are in the past few months?
Yeah.
And, like, what's the trends of, like, the holiday season? So holiday seasons are really tough. But so we'll get more tuna, get more peanut butter, things like that, just based on the numbers and how many people are coming through our doors.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Andie Zielinski, a realtor with Windermere Real Estate, and Amanda Caesar with the Missoula Food Bank, who is going to be one of the beneficiaries of one of the projects that Windermere is highly involved in. We're eventually getting there, but I did mention just before you came on that we got a little bit acquainted at one of the Can the Cats food drives. We were invited out to do some live broadcast updates at each of the Albertsons around the city of Missoula, leading up to the Grizz-Cat football game and the big rivalry, not only on the field, but on the food drive as well. Your impressions of the Can the Cats food drive, what'd you think? How'd it go?
Oh, my gosh, it was incredible. So we raised more food and more funds than we ever have before. Those darn Bozeman cats are always raising more, though.
Well, at least you're keeping the bar high.
We
right?
are. We are keeping the bar so high. Missoula is this incredible community that just comes together for this big food drive, and it's outrageous how much food we can raise. Yeah.
And so now the Missoula Food Bank has all this food. I don't know how many pounds you're talking about. I know a lot of times the score is measured in pounds. I don't know how many pounds you ended up with and what you're talking about, but now, what are we going to do with all this food? What do you have to do with all that?
Yeah, it goes right into our store. So it comes in through the doors, and that week leading after the Can the Cats drive, we have Thanksgiving, actually, is
right.
The day after the Can the Cats drive ends, and many of our volunteers sort through those donations for pumpkin and green beans and corn and pie crusts and frozen turkeys. We get lots of turkeys during that time, and they're heavy, so they're very great. But that all gets distributed during our Thanksgiving distribution. Many of it goes out during the December holidays, and then that food really lasts us through the first few months of spring. So it'll last us a decent amount of time, but it's really what helps us get variety and healthy, nutritious things that are different than the peanut butter that we can buy or the standard cereal or standard pasta. It gives that variety to our customers and a little extra flavor in their diets. And
it is such a big part of your annual campaigns, right?
It is, yeah. It is huge. It's our biggest food drive of the year. It's 2 weeks long. It lines up with the Brawl of the Wild football game, the Grizz versus the Cats, and everyone loves that rivalry ship. And it's just amazing for both communities, Missoula and Bozeman, to raise so much food.
And before we went on the air, you mentioned that you're getting married in September. Do you need a realtor?
I actually own my house already.
Oh, all right.
But if I'm looking for another, I will.
I was trying, Andie.
I know.
Amanda Caesar with Missoula Food Bank, one of our guests on Missoula Real Estate Today. I'm going to send it back over to Andie Zielinski with Windermere Real Estate. And let's talk about Amanda is here because the Missoula Food Bank is one of the beneficiaries of what's called the SUP Cup, stand-up paddleboard. How did Windermere get involved in that one?
So our mothership, our Windermere in Seattle, runs an event, the Windermere Cup. It's a rowing competition.
Okay.
And it's a huge event there. We wanted to create something in Windermere, Montana that would have a Montana hometown feel. We wanted an event that would be impactful to help our foundation, to help certain nonprofits in Missoula. 8 years ago, there was a handful of us that got together, and one of the members that was there said, stand-up paddleboard. It just had started taking off as a new thing, and so it was kind of new, fun, and exciting and different. And to have it going through one of our wild waterways in Missoula is so, like John Brower puts it, our managing broker, it's so uniquely Missoula.
Right.
But it's been fun. It's been a huge development, and we're really getting it down to a science now. We just need more people to come sign up and race and support these nonprofits.
Well, I think that's the operable word, isn't it? Fun, because you do call it a race, and I guess you can be competitive about it if you so choose. It's kind of like our radio station's Insane Inflatables event that's coming back to town in June, where you can treat it like a race if you want to and go through the course, but really it's more about having a blast. What all goes on? What makes this thing just, especially as you say, Missoula and crazy and a good time?
Exactly. So perfectly Missoula. So we bus our racers. There's a recreational race and an elite race. We bus them up to the Sharon Fishing Access in East Missoula.
Yeah.
That is where the start of the race is. We finish at the Holiday Inn Parkside at Bess Reed Park. It's 4.2 miles down the Clark Fork River.
Okay.
So much fun. We had people our first year that were like, I want to go again. Can somebody else run me up again? They had so much fun, and they were so nervous about it. But the river kind of guides you, and it's really a fairly easy strip of river to go down. So we've had never-ever suppers before to very professional elite racers who tend to do this. They kind of go on a tour, and that's what they do as far as finding an extra income for themselves. So, but they're very passionate about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got my comeuppance there. I got to take this one a little more seriously because it's not fun for everybody. It's a job. It's a gig. And yes, listeners, you're hearing this and going, they're talking about a paddleboard race, and you don't have to have a lot of experience. So this must be a little ways down the road. Well, yeah, it is, because you're sure as heck not going to. You don't want to do this during spring runoff, right?
Nope. July 19th. That's always, I think, the third Sunday of July.
Okay.
So we're not competing with our Missoula Marathon at all.
Yeah.
And it's nice and hot, too. And we start it fairly early in the morning, so you guys aren't out there cooking. We have a Montana luau to follow the race, which is super fun. We have music and food and drinks and prizes. It's a great way to finish the race. It's so much fun.
Okay. And, there's obviously an entry fee, right?
Yes.
And I assume you have to have your own equipment and whatnot. Some of the criteria there.
Yes. So recreational right now for the early bird is $50, and for elite is $80. That'll go up. I can't remember if it's May or June. Forgive me. That'll go up $20 for each one. You do need to provide your own board. There is tons of rentals throughout Missoula, places where you can rent a board if you don't have one for yourself. But I think Bob Ward's. There's Trailhead downtown. There's lots of, in the university, I think even provides some stand-up paddleboard rentals. So,
and when all is said and done, how does Windermere Real Estate get involved with dispersing the proceeds?
So after we have paid all of our bills from the event, the timing, renting out the park, the food, drinks, everything, we settle up, and then we disperse them between Watershed Education and the Missoula Food Bank and Power Pack program. First couple years, we just did a small amount, but last year was our biggest. I wish I had the numbers in front of me. But our event is growing, and it's so much fun, and it's so wonderful to be able to hand off a check to people who work so hard to make our community better.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Andie Zielinski, a realtor with Windermere Real Estate, and Amanda Caesar with the Missoula Food Bank. And we were hoping that Deb from the Watershed Education Network could make it today and was unable to. Andie, I'll probably ask you just a couple of questions about Watershed Education Network here in a second. But when I was talking to Amanda, we'll get the microphone back to you. I'm sorry, I guess I really did not get an opportunity to ask you about the Kids Empowerment Program, of which you will be a beneficiary from funds raised from SUP Cup. But tell us about the Kids Empowerment Program.
Yeah, so Kids Empower Pack, it's our weekend nutrition pack for kids through the school systems in Missoula and Clinton and our surrounding areas to make sure that kids are nourished over the weekends when school is not in session. So each pack includes 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, hearty snacks, fresh fruit, and milk, all to help last that weekend. It's really hard for families and parents and guardians of people watching kiddos, especially if they work over the weekend or have something where those kiddos need a little extra help. So it's kid-friendly food in these packs, delicious things. I mean, Chef Boyardee raviolis and Triscuits and delicious milks and fresh produce, fresh food. And it really helps a lot of kids in our community feel ready to learn back on Monday morning when they get to school.
Now, somebody's got to pack the Empower Pack. Is that something you prep ahead of time for them and they just come in and pick those up?
Yes. So all through the year we have Kids Empower Pack builds. They are epic, to say the least.
Yeah.
We all sweat when we when we pack these, but it's a good workout, and it's also super fun. We have lots of schools that come in with their 7th and 8th graders. We have realtor companies. We have church groups, faith-based groups, lots of folks from the community.
You got a ballpark on about how many of these you prepare on a regular basis?
Yeah, so last year we actually provided 47,000 Kids Empower Packs. Yep, 47,000 meals to more than 1,000 kids on the program in over 30 schools. So it's a lot of food. Our warehouse manager, we were talking about Greg earlier, he's got a big job during the school year too.
And how does it feel to be involved in a fundraising project like this with Windermere Real Estate and the stand-up paddleboard competition, the SUP Cup?
We love it. I mean, it's so fun. Andie was saying that it's just a really fun way for us to be involved together. It's a super cool partnership. Missoula Food Bank and Community Center actually has our own SUP Cup team, too. Yes.
Are you the captain of that?
I am no. I'm certainly not. But I do go out for the practices.
Quartermaster?
Cheerleader. Yes,
all right, there you go.
Sidelines enthusiast.
That's fine.
Yeah, but we have a team, and we have lots of novice, very beginner too, suppers on our team. Just a couple years ago, we started involving all of our staff, and being the food bank, we dress everyone up in food costumes, and nothing's worse than getting beat by a banana. So,
amen, sister.
Amen.
Sure. Hey, a special thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that helped bring you Missoula Real Estate today. Rob Fleming with Mann Mortgage, Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. Another beneficiary of the funds raised with SUP Cup through Windermere is the Watershed Education Network. And, Andie, I know you're not an expert on that, and that's okay, but just a little bit of background about what a watershed is and why its education is important.
So these people are amazing humans. I think a lot of us here live here in Missoula because of our surroundings. And what they're doing is they are teaching our youngsters what a healthy water habitat is. Healthy bugs, healthy streams, healthy ponds, and how we can take care of them for their future. But I think we can all agree that's one of the reasons we live here is for the opportunity to go fish in these, to go swim, to go play, enjoy the day. So this team of people is helping us keep our rivers and streams the way we want them to be.
And as far as interacting with what you do, you've been a realtor now for a few years. I don't know if you've encountered this, but I know that when we did talk to Deb Fosnock with the Watershed Education Network, I did ask her, since it's a real estate show, in what ways would you like to educate people who are considering buying a home near a watershed? And that's probably a kind of important, facet of what they do.
Absolutely. Definitely working through the DNRC to know our information as far as water rights are concerned. A lot more places in, I would say, the outskirts of our area
Right.
deal with that a little bit more as far as like healthy streams for watering or their cattle or even just their well water too.
Sure.
So definitely I don't think that the watershed helps with that as much, but if you have a river off of your back porch, then definitely that is going to be important for you and educational also. And this team also goes into our local schools and will take their class out for the day and educate them and teach them. Look at this bug. I couldn't even come up with a bug name right now to tell you.
No, that's okay. I know what you mean, though. I mean, I was dying to be a kid on one of her field trips when she was describing those the last time she was in there.
And 8 years ago, like my little girl's 13 now, but 8 years ago when we started this event, they took my little girl down to the river and scooped up some bugs and were teaching her, like, check this out. This little guy is healthy. This is what we want to see. And she thought that was just the coolest thing ever. I mean, what little kid doesn't love bugs, honestly?
Exactly. Yeah. I guess it's fair to say, Andie, you've never been a real estate agent in a slow market. What are your thoughts on the current housing market in Missoula and surrounding areas? Prices a bit high, inventory a bit low. Is it a healthy market from your point of view?
We are definitely seeing some higher inventory because things are a little bit lower, but I'm seeing some exciting moves towards the spring. I think everybody's getting ramped up, which is really exciting for our spring market. Last month, our median sales price was $325, which was quite a bit higher than the year before.
Right.
Last year in January for 2019, our median sales price was $293. So it's gone up quite a bit in just a year, and a year is not that long of a time. Days on market is 149 days on the market for last month in January, and we had 72 sales in our system also. So definitely for January, for a slower month, we were increased from last year, so we're thankful for that.
Andie Zielinski with Windermere Real Estate on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere. And our guest has been Amanda Caesar as well with the Missoula Food Bank, one of the beneficiaries of the SUP Cup competition. And before we wrap it up, Amanda, I guess I'll just send one over to you and just ask you real quick if there's a misconception or is there anything that a lot of folks just do not understand about the Missoula Food Bank that you'd like them to understand?
Yeah, sure. So we know that everybody has a different story. Everyone that comes through our doors has something different going on. Last year in 2019, we actually had 66% of the individuals that came through our doors only shopped 4 or less times. So some people might think like, oh, some people go to the food bank all the time. And really, it's not that. It's not that at all. More than half only go 4 or less. Yeah. But we're super fortunate for this awesome partnership with Andie and the Windermere team, helping our Kids in Power Pack program. And these kids are amazing. All the kids in our community are so wonderful, and they're learning about bugs through this SUP Cup. They're getting nourished and fed, and we're dressing up in food costumes, and all of these great partnerships are coming together for a super cool cause. And we're so thankful.
All right, well said. Andie, if folks want to find out more about the SUP Cup, what do they need to do?
Just go to our SUP website, which is supcupmt.com. You can register there or just scope it out and see if you need a little bit more information. We do need more sponsors at this point to fund this year's event. So if you're interested, please reach out to anybody at Windermere or myself. Please let us know.
Andie Zielinski with Windermere Real Estate and Amanda Caesar with the Missoula Food Bank. Great job, gals. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today. If you have any suggested topics for any future Missoula Real Estate Today programs or any questions about buying or selling, contact Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@realtor.com or visit her website, homesinmissoula.com. That's homesinmissoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.